In Chapter 20, Lesson 3, we're going to talk about promoting a smoke-free environment. Basically, what can we do to really make the environment, the people, and the social situations around us a place where people can breathe fresh air. Ultimately, the health risks of tobacco smoke should be something that we can spread the message about and hopefully get people to make good decisions about their own health by not smoking. Number one, we want to know about environmental tobacco smoke, something called ETS. It's basically secondhand smoke or air that's been contaminated by tobacco smoke. It's out there. Anybody who you spend time around who's smoking is putting that into the environment, and it's just a fancy way of saying secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke is really made up of two different types of smoke. It's mainstream smoke and side stream smoke. Mainstream smoke is the smoke exhaled from the lungs of the smoker. So they take a drag in, they breathe it out into the air, and we can see it. It's all it's pretty obvious what somebody's doing. Side stream smoke is the smoke that comes from the burning end of a cigarette, pipe, or cigar. It's a little bit smaller in amount. We don't see quite as much of it, but it can be more dangerous than mainstream smoke because it's not exhaled by the smoker, and it contains lower concentrations of carcinogens, nicotine, and tar. Young children who are exposed to ETS are more likely to develop asthma than their peers who are not exposed to ETS. We know kids who grow up in households where there is smoking can certainly have higher rates of these type of illnesses. There are health risks to non-smokers. People who breathe in secondhand smoke. 3,000 deaths occur every year from lung cancer as a result of people who aren't smokers. And I used to think about when I was in a bar or restaurant and it was a place where you could smoke, especially in Minnesota prior to about 10 years ago, or in Wisconsin a little bit sooner than that. But if you are around smoke all day in your job and you're not smoking, you're breathing that in. That can be very, very dangerous, and we certainly know people will get sick and die from it. It's even a sadder situation when we have children or unborn children being affected by the decisions that adults make, especially related to tobacco. Choosing to live tobacco free is one of the healthiest choices a pregnant female can make for her baby. Understand that anything a female eats or drinks or is exposed to is going to make its way to that unborn child through the bloodstream. And yes, even if you breathe it in as opposed to eating it or drinking it, it's certainly going to get into that bloodstream and get to that baby. It can have some major effects. Smoking during pregnancy can seriously harm the developing fetus. We want that baby to grow as big and strong, as healthy as can be. We certainly don't want something that would interfere with that. Infant may also suffer from growth and developmental problems during early childhood. Maybe not something super obvious. It's not going to cause something like Down syndrome, but we certainly could see where the brain development is going to be a little bit slower, and the child may struggle in school or to adapt to situations that a child their age normally should. Babies of mothers who smoke during pregnancy or who are exposed to environmental tobacco smoke are more likely to die from sudden infant death syndrome, also known as SIDS. So there can be a profound effect on the lungs and the ability of that baby to get the air that they need. Young children who grow up in households where there is smoking really don't have a choice in the matter. They're going to be exposed to whatever the adults around them are doing, and we certainly see that with smoking. Children of smokers tend to have higher incidence of sore throats, ear infections, upper respiratory problems than children of non-smokers. It's just going to be that irritant in the air that dries out your throat, ears, and respiratory system that can cause some problems. And secondhand smoke can slow lung development. We want children to grow up and be able to breathe as best as possible. I don't see why we would want to inhibit that or cause that type of problem in a growing child. So how do we reduce our own risks? If a family member smokes, we want to encourage that person to quit by telling him or her the health effects of tobacco smoke. Not that we don't think these people already know the negative effects that can happen with smoking, but sometimes they need a little bit of extra push or encouragement or a reminder of the things that can happen. I could smoke 10 cigarettes a day and maybe cough a little bit, but I'm not going to get cancer right away. Chances are it's going to take a long period of time. People wake up every day and say, hey, I'm still doing okay. I cough once in a while. I can't run as far as I used to, but overall I'm doing well, not realizing that their habit is going to build up over time and eventually it's going to catch up with them. We can also open the windows to allow fresh air in, whether that's in the car or in the house, or we can suggest that person who smokes to go smoke somewhere else. It's not always easy, but if we could do it in a polite way, maybe they're going more willing to comply. Ultimately, we want to be able to create a smoke-free society. Medical research shows that any exposure to secondhand smoke can cause health problems. So if I smoke and there's people around, I'm not the only one being affected. Well, I think we all understand how that happens, but there's a reason why the laws were put into place to disallow smoking in public places and in bars and restaurants because other people who were choosing not to smoke were affected by it. It's hard to believe that, back 30 plus years ago, you could smoke on an airplane. Well, if you've ever been on an airplane, it's no bigger than a bus. And if I'm smoking in the front of the bus or the back, it doesn't take long for that smoke to circulate and really get to everybody. And you used to be able to smoke in doctors' offices and in grocery stores and things like that, where the general public may be, coming and going and can be exposed to any smoke that's out there. And that was, of course, before we knew a lot of the negative health effects of smoking, and people were more socially accepting of people having a cigarette in their hand. According to the U.S. Surgeon General, the only way to fully protect people from damaging health effects of environmental tobacco smoke is prohibit smoking in public places. So that's why we're seeing those laws come into place. The Surgeon General, who is our nation's kind of top doctor, is basically saying, hey, let's get rid of it in public places so we don't affect the general public.